I actually really like both PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. I'm probably not getting a Series X because I have a PC and the games are going to be there, to the best of my knowledge. You enjoy both systems. You are getting a PlayStation 5 as well because we want to play the exclusives and play together. I think that needs to be said because whenever you criticize anything, people immediately think you hate it for some reason.
Well, now wait a minute. You can only talk about good things.
Okay, well, Xbox and PlayStation are perfect.
Okay,
there you go. Nintendo, good.
There you go.
So here's the thing. The file size of games is getting huge. And that's something we wanted to talk about today because I think that this might be one of the biggest problems facing next-gen gaming right now is the fact that on PS4 and Xbox...
PS5.
Well, no, but on PS4 back then. You could barely get away with not needing an external hard drive, and you and I eventually both just had to get them because we play more than one game a year. Well, that's the thing is I don't understand who they're designing this for when they say this. So they call this basically a terabyte for the Xbox Series X, but the final storage size is actually going to be something at around 800 gigabits usable. So that's actually better, believe it or not, than the PlayStation 5 is going. While this isn't 100% confirmed, with the UI reveal, we got to see a lot of different things with the system, and it's been pretty much confirmed that there is going to be about, I believe, 664 gigabytes usable on the system, which is less than Xbox Series X. So there's a point for Xbox right there if we want to throw them a bone. That's probably about one big AAA game, unless you're Call of Duty and you're 200 gigabits.
Yeah, so Modern Warfare is 200, literally.
That's the thing that's funny about this is games are getting massive, and this is without all the extra. This is without the stuff they're trying to say that they want to hit like 8K, above 60 FPS, all this crap, that they can't even hit 4K 60 FPS on last gen, so good luck. But it's just interesting to me because games are getting huge. And if we run down some of the games that we have there, and I can't even see them from this angle, like, Nate, how big is Marvel's Avengers? It's not as big as a lot.
It's about 61 gigabytes. Black Ops 3, 129, but you have all the zombies installed.
Right.
So, Arkham City's about 37.
Right, because it's just a remaster.
I saw Arkham Knight was 80. I saw that this morning.
And that was back from 2015, just with the DLC, which wasn't that much DLC. Yeah. There's a lot of big games, and this really will affect you, I think, if you play AAA titles, because I play kind of a mixture of AAA and smaller games. You play mostly AAA, some smaller games, working down the roster to T, who plays like no small games at all. But I'm just saying, like, it's kind of a mix depending on who you are, but I think it's really going to be an issue when you're trying to install multiple games. And the reason that I think this is important, because it's not important to some people. You could just delete something and install something new, right? Most people don't know this, but you probably have an internet data cap. Because what happens is you sign up for these internet companies, especially if your parents did it. Like, let's say you're 15, 16, you don't get to look at your Comcast bill or whatever, that's mom and dad. So you sign up for these, and most of the time what will happen is it'll be, hey, once you pass a terabyte or 875 gigabits downloads in a month, that includes streaming and other stuff as well, we throttle your connection completely. So maybe you go from 400 gigabits a second to 50. Seriously. That's just in a lot of these contracts. I specifically, for work, had to get an internet connection that didn't have limited data, and I pay more every month. And that's in Minnesota. I know Alaska is way worse for that, and there's states that are better or worse. But a lot of people don't know that they have that, and so they think this just isn't a problem.
Yeah, but also the other thing is, why wouldn't it be a problem? Because it takes time to download these games.
Well, I guess if you have the patience of a saint and you don't care, you can just toggle them in and out. Yeah, I understand that, but either way, it's an inconvenience, even if you don't have that data cap.
Right.
Like, I don't want to have to delete stuff even without it.
Well, yeah, it's just kind of stupid.
Yeah.
I know that's my key word there.
Yeah,
but
the key phrase.
No, I think it is a problem, because like you said, games are getting bigger. It wouldn't be an issue if games were like 20, 30 gigabytes only, but Modern Warfare alone is 200. Red Dead Redemption is like 150.
I can't believe Red Dead is smaller than Modern Warfare. That's the thing is, if these game companies don't optimize the game,
it becomes a huge problem.
Yeah, and a lot of these codes are not easy to optimize, so some of the bigger companies just opt to release it anyways, and it's huge.
Yeah, and the other problem is the companies haven't figured out a way to optimize the system so when you update the games, it doesn't take up 8,000 gigabytes of space just to update a 2 gigabyte update.
That's the weird thing. Yeah, if you go to update a 60 gigabit game with another 10 gigabytes, like let's say there was a massive patch, 10 gigabytes, and you go to install that, you don't need 10 gigabytes free, you don't even need 20. Most of the time you'll need like 50.
Yeah, and it like makes you delete all these games. Like sometimes, especially now, Modern Warfare is notorious for this.
Yeah, this is like the worst example.
Every time it makes me delete like 3 games, and I'm just like, how big is this update? And then I look at it, it's like 2 gigabytes. And I'm like, why did I delete like 3 games for this?
It's weird because it basically reinstalls a lot of the entire package and then re-unpacks it.
Yeah.
You know, this can happen on PC as well when you're updating things, but it's very fast because PC processing power is just generally faster.
Yeah.
I know console gamers don't like to hear that, but it's just stats. It's really like saying that the Xbox 360 is slower than the Xbox One. It doesn't make it a bad system.
Right.
It's just newer or has more expensive tech in it.
Right.
And so when you start going that direction for gaming updates, it gets really hard to actually store all the games you want to play. Even some of the stuff we looked at, I believe Demon's Souls, which was a remake from the ground up, the game was not that big in general. I would say it's the smallest of the Souls games by far. That's going to be over 60 gigabits at launch, no patches. So let's say that they get 10 gigabits worth of patches over the course of that life cycle. We're looking at about 75 gigabits right there. And that's a small next-gen AAA game.
Yeah.
Very small. When we start getting into some of these games optimized for ray tracing and 8K and stuff like that, like they want to do eventually, these files are going to be huge.
Yeah. And your 600 gigabytes on the PS5 is going to run out within like 3 games.
Yeah.
Which is a huge problem.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the PS5 and the Xbox Series X should have probably a minimum of 2 terabytes to start out. Because then you also have to realize every time they release a system update, it takes up more of your space.
And it slows down the system a lot of the times.
Yeah.
You know, do you think that the PS3 was really slow when it launched? It wasn't that slow. The UI got worse over time.
Because they kept adding more stuff into it.
Yes. PS4's even had that issue. Like, the friends list broke with the last update.
Well, a lot of things broke with the last update. But
yeah, including user privacy.
Yep. So, yeah, it's an issue. And I think that these executives probably should have realized that.
I think they did. I think people know that this is an issue. I think that it comes down to cutting cost on the system. I would have paid an extra $50 to have another terabyte of hard space.
Yeah,
hard drive space.
So would I.
Because I don't really want to, you know, we're going to get the comments, you can just buy the external hard drive. You can. 100% you can. But there is also questions of compatibility sometimes, depending on what you're buying, what works with that. I know that there was sort of a dedicated memory unit thing that was being talked about as well. So it's not always that easy to upgrade your hard drive space. I'm not going to pretend I know everything about the next gen hard drive because I know that they were talking about dedicated memory, not cards, but units. And I'm not sure how that'll end up working post-launch. With the PS4, it was fairly easy. You could basically buy a generic external hard drive and plug that in and format it, and it's good. You and I both have 2 terabyte ones.
I just have one.
Okay, mine's a 2 terabyte because I'm better than you.
Yeah.
And that mine's plugged into the PS4. I don't need it for the Xbox One because I don't have as many games that I play on it at a time. This is the first generation I've ever needed this.
Yeah, same with me. Besides just your standard like memory card.
Yeah.
But I think also the other issue is the PS4 Pro has a terabyte, is it? 1 terabyte?
Yes.
The PS5 is going to have less memory than the PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
Even though when did the Pro come out? Like 4 years ago? 5 years ago?
Yes.
So, how is that not an issue?
I honestly have no idea.
You're saying in 5 years they could not have figured out a way to put on an extra terabyte of space. They already did it with the PS4 Pro.
Yeah, well, you would think so too, because they did confirm as well. I did want to talk about this because I was looking it up while you were talking. They did confirm that they will allow you to upgrade PS5's 825 gigabit capacity, which is without, the UI and all that stuff, which brings it down to like 660. They will allow you to do that by purchasing compatible NVMe SSD drives, but you will need to use an SSD drive specifically whitelisted as compatible by Sony. That's what it says. I'm reading on pushsquare.com. They're really good with a lot of stuff involving PlayStation. So that's already a little different because I would say that could jack up the price of some of those SSD drives over time. We see that a lot of the times where it's like, oh, well, if it works with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, they're all cheaper. But if it only works with A, E, G, all of a sudden those are in higher demand. Right. Because maybe people want them for PCs, like an SSD drive for their PC, but maybe they also need it for their PS5. That is a problem right there as well with actually being able to upgrade that makes it even more difficult.
Yeah. This is a lot of issues here.
Yeah, I know.
And I feel like it would have been a lot easier for them just to install a 2 terabyte system hard drive.
Yeah. So. I do too. I know to some people this isn't going to matter. I think it should, though, because I think you should want the best gaming experience for yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we both like these companies. I still want to enjoy my time on the thing and not be inconvenienced.
Yeah.
Liking or disliking Sony has nothing to do with that, or Microsoft or whoever.
Right. And, like, even on my PS4 right now, I have God of War installed, Modern Warfare, Spyro, Monster Hunter, Iceborne. Those are all games I play.
Yeah.
But with this, I mean, the bigger the games get and the smaller the memory gets, like on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, you're not going to be able to have all those. Maybe you can only have Modern Warfare and God of War.
Well, and think about this. What if you're the guy who sold your PS4 Pro to get the PS5 because they've been pushing that there will be backwards compatibility with most PS4 games will run as good or better. Most. There's going to be some exceptions. Let's say you're the guy who sold your PS4. You needed to do that to afford the PS5. There are people in that situation. Well, now if you want to play those PS4 games, they're going to take up as much room.
Yeah.
So like, let's say God of War took, I don't know what God of War takes. Let's say 50.
God of War 3 is 30.
Okay, let's say you put God of War 3 on your PS5. That's 30 gigabytes right there. It doesn't get smaller just because it's a last-gen game.
Right.
So, see what I'm saying? Like this problem gets worse as you add in backwards compatibility, actually.
Yeah.
Because you're now using the system for 2 generations worth of games. Assuming that you want to do that.
Right.
If you are the most casual gamer of all time, and this is not an insult, there's a lot of people like this, where it's like, I play one game at a time, I don't have more than 4 or 5 hours a week for gaming, I don't need to install more, this will not affect you at all.
No.
Not in the slightest. But for anyone where this is one of your main hobbies and you have maybe a lot more dedicated free time to use it, I think that that's where this becomes a problem. And I think that it's kind of weird how some people have defended both the companies over this, because I really do think this will inconvenience everyone. Like I said, the PS4 Pro and even actually my Nintendo Switch are the first times I can remember that I needed to buy additional memory. I didn't buy the PS Vita, thank God, because all the games ended up getting moved. It's worthless now, basically. That was the one with dedicated memory. That's the last one I remember where it would have been a problem if I did buy it. But it seems like we're moving into this just being the new standard for some reason.
Yeah, and I don't know why, because everything else is getting better, but our storage space is getting worse.
Yeah.
Like, how does that even make sense?
Well, and I kind of wonder if it's just so they can release a PS5 Pro in 3 years.
Probably.
With better hard drive space.
Or so they can also release these external hard drives.
Oh, like their own officially licensed Sony one and sell that?
And be like, hey, buy our new hard drives.
Yeah.
We could have put this in the console, but we didn't. So now I have to spend another $50.
That's kind of what I think will happen. I don't know. I mean, I think that's all I have on it. It went a little longer than I thought our discussion was going to. Did you have anything else to say about this?
Not really.
Okay. I'm just tired.
It's kind of annoying.
I'm just tired of being like inconvenienced, and maybe that sounds a little entitled or whatever.
Yeah, you want everything given to you.
Yes, for my $500, I expect it given to me.
Exactly.
Like I'm just donating that to a freaking charity.
Exactly.
I don't know. I'm tired of paying out my butt to these companies and then still having these inconvenient issues every time we buy these systems. It's just getting annoying. I really think they need to do better about this. If there is a generation of consoles following the PS5 and Xbox Series X, I hope that they learn from that, but I doubt they will. So let us know what you think in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on the storage space? Does this affect you? Does it not? Do you play many games at a time? Do you not have a data cap and you know that and it just won't bother you? Or you don't mind waiting? You pull out the old newspaper, maybe have a cup of joe and do the crossword while you're downloading it. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Be sure to check out everything in the description. We've got the Let's Play channel where we're playing through a bunch of stuff. Nate and I just finished FNAF. We're going to be starting Metal Gear Solid soon. So a lot of fun stuff down there. We'll see you in the next one. Have a fantastic day. And as always, stay shway.